guys, and how pleased I am with all the guys this whole spring. Obviously starting with I guess you call them the three horses with Mafah man, Uno, and my man Pace. With both of those guys being out, man, they've been awesome in the classroom. Really, took their mental game to a whole new level. Really pushing these guys that's been able to come out and practice. And then the Mafah man, he just been unbelievable this whole spring. I think he took a gigantic step in his game, his leadership. He was more vocal. And then you have Tristan Rigby, walk-on guy, and Kevin McNeil, who's a walk-on. Then we had, Dominique Thomas, who came here in January. All three of those guys are walk-on. Well, all four, because you have Wise Seegers. And those guys, they took advantage of the opportunity that was presented with those other two guys that was out this spring. And them guys, they did the best job that they could, and I was very pleased with that. We still have a long way to go before we can be the unit that we want to be this upcoming season. And they took the challenge, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this get ready phase translate over to our transformation phase. But overall, really just pleased with the guys. They came and worked hard each and every day. They didn't complain. I really tried to stress them and strain them and really push them to their limits to get the best. And just what I told those guys, greatness, you have coaches talk about that, but at the end of the day, it has to come from within yourself. And that was my message to those guys. To be great, you have to be ready to do things that other people are not ready to do. And those guys understand that, and like I said, I'm just looking forward to these guys carrying this momentum that they've built in the spring over to the summertime and getting ready for fall camp. So, other than that, man, I'm, like I say, really pleased with all my guys that came and put their hard hat on and went to work this spring and did what they needed to do to get better as an individual.
So you have two guys that have proven they can be the man in Will and Kobe.
Yeah.
You have a third coming along. You probably think could probably be the guy too. So when fall starts, do you want one guy to separate and be the man, or do you want that three-headed monster?
I mean, we want the three-headed, and then we're gonna have Keith Adams that's gonna come here later in the summertime. But those three guys, man, you can put them on any team in America and they can go start. I mean, when you're talking about separation, it's going to be very slim because we, as an offensive staff, we feel very comfortable putting any of those guys in there and going in there and getting the job done and have all the confidence in the world in each and every one of them. Now, all three of them bring something totally different to the table, which is what you like as a running backs coach because every running back is different. But as far as a huge separation, I wouldn't say it's going to be a big gap between those guys. And, the thing that I love about all three of them, that they love each other. They want to see each other be successful, and that's very rare that you find in college football nowadays. When you have three guys that we have here on our roster that can literally, like I say, go on any other program and be the starter, but those guys really be happy for each other's success. So, like I said, I don't see where it's going to be a gigantic gap. Like I said, it might be a slim one, but at the end of the day, all three of those guys going to play. The great thing is we was able to get the Mafah man. We got, obviously we still have the spring game, but getting him through this spring, as healthy as we can, considering that, he was going to have a heavier load than what he done had in the past. So far we've been on the right end of that. But like I said, I would feel confident in any of those guys going out there and playing and getting the job done. And as a coach, it put a lot of strain and pressure on you because all three of those guys can go out and be successful. But at the end of the day, you can only have one that go out there. So we just have to get our rotation right, and that just falls on me and the offensive staff and making sure that we have the right personnel when we need it.
Coach, how has Mafah been with his pass catching, his pass protection this spring?
Oh, man, Mafah, man, got some of the best hands on the team, honestly. I mean, he showed that last year to be the size that he is. I mean, he has great hands, has great feet, got power, got speed. I mean, he's almost like a combo, honestly. I mean, because he can catch the ball, he can run the ball, he can pass pro. I mean, he can do it all. He just took his game to a whole new level from a mental aspect, from a vocal aspect. And really, challenge the younger guys to step up and put their best foot forward too. So, like I said, man, I just really been pleased with him. And he comes in every day, smile on his face. I mean, he brighten up our room each and every day that he comes in, and man, that's what you love as a coach. But like I say, man, he can do it all. He really can.
When you say he's taking a step mentally,
Yeah.
specifically what areas have you seen?
Well, I mean, when you talk about, the run game, you understanding, who the offensive line going to, understanding, okay, who they going to and who's going to be the free guy. Well, mentally, if I know who's going to be the free guy, the term I use, you got to have a toolbox, right? So you got to have a tool ready for that guy whenever he comes up there. So that's what I talk about. And then just the pass protection, knowing who the offensive line has, knowing who you got, and then just going out there just blocking, and then just understanding, what type of rusher this guy is that comes. So, I mean, he just took his game just really to a whole new level. I would say he probably was definitely, I don't even want to say most improved because it ain't like he had a terrible spring last year, but just with the limited numbers that he had this past season, he just really, from his standpoint, gained a ton of confidence going into the summer.
CJ, for this offensive staff, as y'all tried to sort of get a feel for what y'all want to do, how much of the injuries, not just at running back, but across the whole offense, taken away from what y'all would ordinarily like to do?
Well, from our offensive staff, I think Coach Street did an awesome job of, getting our installs, the stuff that we want to get done, and the stuff that we wanted to rep, the stuff that we really going to rep, come September and stuff like that. We was able to get all that stuff in. Obviously, we didn't have our full, all our people out there, so, it's still some nuances that that we was able to hold back, and, once those guys get back, we'll be ready to rep those plays. But for the most part, it was really able to install it. But that's the beauty of this sport is that, you can't hold back on your install because each and every guy got to be ready to go. And that's kind of what I preach to my guys, that, we don't want to change our game plan because, let's say, Will Shipley go down and then only have Kobe and the Mafah man. Those guys got to be able to go in there and execute the whole game plan. So that's the thing that you try to challenge each and every player as an offensive guy, because literally you're always one play away from being a starter. So if you have that mindset, then I think your offensive playbook can kind of stay wide open.
There's a lot of things you could call, Phil, that why the Mafah man?
You know what? I can't even take credit for that one. I got to get that one to my good friend, Coach Robbie Caldwell. He just, for some reason, he just started calling him the Mafah man, and it kind of does stuck. So, I kind of got a nickname for all of them right now. You got, Mafah man. You got Uno. The only one that ain't really got one is really Kobe. I just call him Kobe. You got Tristan Rigby, call him Red. Wise Seeger, just call him Wise. Dominique, just call him Quadzilla. I'm pretty sure y'all have seen him. His quads is huge. And then Kevin McNeil, we just call him Working Man Kev. So, and then I just got to come up with one with Keith Adams. I just haven't been around him and been on the practice field with him to kind of get a nickname for him yet. So I just try to have fun with those guys. So that's kind of.
Coach, speaking of Coach Caldwell,
Yeah.
Thomas Austin came in with you in 2006, blocked for you for 4 years. What's it like coaching with him now with the bonds you have and that relationship?
Man, it's been awesome having Coach Austin right there by my side, and I mean, he understands. Obviously, he got his coaching career started before me, so I'm leaning on him, especially in the pass game and in the run game. And the good thing is that we are able to speak the same lingo because he understands how we kind of see it from the running back view, and then we understand kind of what they looking at up front. So, if we're on the same page as a unit from the running back standpoint, I think we can be very successful. But there's, like I said, still a ton of work that has to be put in. But man, he done came in and done a phenomenal job with the offensive line, just from a communication standpoint. He's young, very energetic, very demanding, and I think the guys respect him for that. Got a ton of knowledge. So. To me, I mean, I know he ain't been in a while, but man, he's going to be one of the best. To me, he's the best offensive line coach in the country. But he's, from the outside world, I know he still has a lot, that he want to get better at. So I'm glad to be going on this journey along with him.
CJ, you just mentioned a few minutes ago about how those running backs all get along in the way that they are, and has that been a little freeing this year now for you to not have to deal with as many personalities and just focus on ball and coaching?
Man, I love dealing with personalities. It's a challenge. Doing ball, that's the fun. That's the I ain't gonna say super easy, but it's not as stressful. You love to deal with different personalities, see what guys go through each and every day, seeing how you can help them to be better as an individual. Being a good citizen and all that stuff. So, and all these guys that's in my room now, they all have their own personalities that I have to deal with. So, I love the challenge each and every day. To deal with a different personality because I know how to push each and every person button in my room, and I know what kind of get them going. And that's the beauty of a coach, that you have to know what buttons to push with each and every guy in your room to get them ready to go play. So, and I kind of have a good feel to how to get all those guys ready to go rock and roll.
CJ, what did you like what you saw from Keith Adams as a prospect, and what are you just hoping to see from him when he arrives this summer?
Man, he's tough. Obviously, we all know his dad played linebacker here, so I'm pretty sure he has some of that, in his DNA. But man, just a fun kid to be around. Can run between the tackles. Has good speed. We see him. He's very well put together. Can catch the ball. Haven't really been playing the position a long time, so he's still learning the nuances of it. So that's the good thing about it. So he's still able to grow in that area. But he's going to be huge for our room. Just a big personality. This guy thinks way beyond just football stuff that he want to do, and that's what you want. Great student. There's a lot of things that goes into it, not just from a football aspect. Like I said, obviously, we all know about his dad, and he didn't let that get to him, because sometimes kids that father that played at the school, that can be a lot of pressure. But man, he was even killed. He was like, I want to set my own path. I know my dad played there, and I know people might try to compare us and want me to go down his same path, but I got my own journey set up for me. So once he told me that, I said, oh, this the guy, let's go.
At what point this offseason are you expecting to get Will and Copley back full speed? Is there a timeline on that?
Yeah, I don't know the timeline on it, honestly. Whenever I told them guys, whenever they're ready to rock and roll, you just let me know, and we'll be ready. We'll be sitting here waiting for you to return. The biggest thing with both of those, obviously, is just getting back, fully healthy. But I don't want to sit here and put a timeline on it and then something happens, because you just never know what can happen in a rehab session. So